Okay, so welcome back to our study of First Samuel. Today we're going to take a look at chapter 22. Hallelujah. Um, so we're just going to jump right in since we have so much technical difficulties today. Um, we're going to start off with First Samuel 22, 1 through 4. Our first reader, please.
And David therefore departed thence and escaped to the cave Adullam. And when his brethren and all his father's house heard it, they went down thither to him. And everyone that was in distress, and everyone that was in debt, and everyone that was discontented gathered themselves unto him. And he became a captain over them, and there were with him about 400 men. And David went thence to Mizpah of Moab, and he said unto the king of Moab, Let my father and my mother, I pray thee, come forth, and be with you till I know what Elohim will do for me. And he brought them before the king of Moab, and they dwelt with him all the while that David was in the hold.
Hallelujah. Okay, so here it is. We have um, David on the run. Now remember, David, his name means the beloved, and it speaks to the part of us that loves Yah. Amen. And the part of us that Yah loves. Now here it is. Saul is trying to kill him, if you don't recall from chapter 21. And so he's on the run. Jonathan, helped him to get away. And so it's telling us he departed and he escaped to the cave of Adullam. And a cave is a cavern. It's Maha-Ara, in the Hebrew. It speaks to a cavern, but, as dark, So that's the essence of it. It speaks to a darkness, and Adullam speaks to justice of the people. So we're looking at a dark justice of the people, if you would, and so here it is, David, the beloved of Elohim, he's running for his life, and this is where he goes to hide out. He goes to hide out in a dark place, in a dark place that, speaks to the justice of Elohim. And there is a dark justice, if you would. Amen. You can feel justified to do something that's not right. Or you could be justified in doing something, which many people may perceive as right, but just because you can do something don't mean you should.
Right.
Amen.
Amen.
And so this is important to know, because when you get in this place, when your love, gets in a place of darkness, that's not a good place to be. And it says, when his brethren and all his father's house heard it, they went down thither to him. Well, why are his brethren and his father's house going down to him? Because they love David and they just want to be with him, right? Part of the reason, but that's not the whole other reason, and you're going to, I don't know if I should speak to it now, and spoil what's coming later, but that's just a part of the reason. Let's just say that we're going to put it on the shelf. You're going to see another very large part of the reason, later on in this lesson. Okay, now it said not just his brethren and his father's house, but everyone that was in distress and everyone that was in debt and everyone that was discontented gathered themselves to him. And he became a captain over them. So here it is, David is getting his merry band of soldiers. Amen. And it says, and there were with him about 400 men. That's a nice number of men right there. You can do some damage with 400 men, right? And it says that David went to Mizpah of Moab. Mizpah speaks to a watchtower. Moab means of his father, so he goes to a watchtower of his father. So spiritually speaking, we see, the love of Elohim, our love for Elohim being chased by Saul, which speaks to the desires. Saul's name speaks to the desires. He's what we ask for, our desires. And when our desires are ruling over us, as Saul was ruling over Israel, when our desires rule over us, it will eventually seek to snuff out the love we have for Elohim. It'll seek to snuff out David, because it comes to know that David will be the next ruler over Israel. So, it sees its replacement and it tries to do away with it before it can replace it.
Right.
Amen. And so this is what's happening, and the love of Elohim has to make a run for it, and he decides to run in a dark place, a cavern, a dark justice of the people, and one perception of a dark justice of the people is revenge. Vengeance can be noted to be a dark justice of the people. This is why Yahuwah says vengeance is mine. Yep. But here it is, we see these people coming to him, and he began, to go to Mizpah of Moab and ask the king of Moab to look out for his family, to look out for his immediate family, his father and mother. I want you to think about this, because Moab is kind of like the enemy. You know what I mean? Not Israel, but he goes there and he asked them to look out for him, and says they dwelt with him all while he was in the hold. Now, this hold that he was in, over in Adullam, in the cave of Adullam, he was in this hold. Interesting word, hold. It's mazud, number 4686, and it speaks to a snare. So the spiritual implication here is that our love, when pursued by our desires, when our desires are trying to kill it, will go into a dark place of justice for the people, and this dark place will be a snare. And this is important to understand, because, it's real easy to find yourself in this dark place, this dark sense of justice. Well, he tried to kill me, so I'm going to kill him before he killed me. Or he tried to cheat me, so I'm going to do this, that, or the other before he get me. It's easy for your love to go to this dark place of justice. Amen? But it is a snare, and you have to understand that. Verse 5 says, and the prophet God said unto David, abide not in the hole. Don't abide in this snare. Depart and get thee into the land of Yahudah, where they confess Yah. Amen. And then David departed and came to the forest of Hareth. Now, this word forest is Yahar, meaning to thicken, and Hareth is a forest. So it goes to this thick forest. And the word Gad, or how I like to pronounce it, which is proper, is God. And I'm just going to rabbit trail just for a second, because, this is just kind of revelatory, and I think, I want everybody to get this, what we pronounce as Gad is actually, God, and it can mean to crowd upon, hence it's translated as troop, attack, to overcome, but it also can speak to fortune, to good fortune. And it was actually the name of a pagan god, which was the god of fortune. And so you have to understand this. Amen. Consider Yeshayahu 65:11. This is one of the places, where it is utilized in this sense. It says, but you are those who forsake Yahuwah, who forget my set apart mountain, who prepare a table for God, and who fill a drink offering for many. But ye are they that have left me, and forget my holy mountain, to prepare a table for the devil, right, and fill up the drink offering to fortune. You know, so I want you to see that this God of fortune, you know, is this God of fortune is a deity that has been worshipped for a very long time. Now I want you to consider that in your King James Bibles and many other Bibles, that the name of the Most High, Yahuwah, the Tetragrammaton, you know, is actually translated as God. Do you think that's just coincidence? Do you think that's by happenstance? You know, I just want you to understand things. You know, because as much as we love the word and as much as enduring as it is unto us, we have to also understand we have an enemy. You know, and that enemy is going to get at us every chance he get. And, you know, those who practice witchcraft, they probably in the Bible more than a lot of so-called saints. And they use scripture, you know, for their spells. Amen. You know, so I want you to understand these things, you know, so I like to point them out and bring them forth, you know, when the opportunity presents itself, you know. And so, you know, this is very, you know, noteworthy, you know, because, you know, a lot of people don't call him by his name, they call him God. But when you put this in conjunction with the new gospel, you know, not the old gospel, but the new gospel. What new gospel, Pastor? That, you know, the prosperity message. Right. You know, that good news, that new gospel, right? You know, then you see what God they're worshiping, even the God of fortune. Say lie. Okay, I'm gonna get off the soapbox. That's all I got to do. Say with that, you know. So we're gonna keep it moving. Verse 6 of 1 Samuel 22, it says, when Saul heard that David was discovered and that the men were with him, it says, now Saul abode in Gibeah under a tree in Ramah, having his spear in his hand, and all his servants were standing about him. Verse 7. Then Saul said unto his servants that stood about him, hear now, ye Benjaminites, or ye Benjamites, will the son of Jesse give every one of you fields and vineyards, and make you all captains of thousands and captains of hundreds, that all of you have conspired against me? And there is none that showeth me that my son have made league with the son of Jesse. And there is none of you that is sorry for me, or showeth unto me that my son have stirred up my servant against me to lie in wait as at this day. You know, so what Saul was saying, you know, he had found out that David had 400 men now. And so he assumed that he was gathering an army to come up against him, you know, which wasn't the case. Right. You know, nevertheless, you know, he was looking for any excuse he was trying to kill him for no reason. So now he got something to blame it on. You know, so here it is. He was blaming it on, you know, oh, he has these men. He obviously, you know, trying to come at me. You know, now it says in verse 9, it says, then answered Doeg, the Edomite, which was set over all the servants of Saul, and said, I saw the son of Jesse coming to Nob, to Achimelech, the son of Achitub. And he inquired of Yahuwah for him, and gave him victuals, and gave him the sword of Goliath, the Philistine. Then the king sent unto Achimelech, the priest, the son of Achitub, and all his father's house, the priests that were in Nob, and they came, all of them, to the king. And Saul said, hear now, thou son of Achitub. And he answered, here I am, my lord. Now I want you to know that Doeg speaks to, his name means fearful or anxious. You know, and so spiritually speaking here, we have a picture of the desires, hearing about the sons of the right hand. You know who the right hand, who on the right hand of the Father, right? You know who his sons are, right?
Right.
Sons of the right hand of the son of Yesse. Yesse means, I exist, or you could say I am. And give every one of you fields and vineyards. He says you hear about these sons of the right hand, the sons of yeah, you you hear about him, coming up against them. So here it is. Doeg, he's an Edomite, he's filled with fear. He hear about this, and Saul, he kind of upset about this, and nobody gonna tell me nothing. Nobody gonna say nothing. So Doeg the Edomite, being the coward that he is, and anxious, to get in good with the king, he says he saw the son of Jesse coming to know, and so he calls for the priest and all his household. Let me have my next reader read verses 13 through 19 of 1 Samuel 22.
And Saul said unto him, Why have ye conspired against me, thou and the son of Jesse, in that thou hast given him bread and a sword, and hast inquired of Elohim for him, that he should rise against me and lie in wait as at this day? Then Ahimelech answered the king and said, And who is faithful among all the servants as David, which is the king's son-in-law, and goeth at thy bidding, and is honorable in thine house? Did then began to inquire of Elohim for him. Be it far from me, let not the king impute anything unto his servant, nor to all the house of his father, of my father. For thy servant knew nothing of all this, less or more. And the king said, Thou shalt surely die, Ahimelech, thou and all thy father's house. And the king said unto the footmen that stood about him, Turn and slay the priests of Yahuwah, because their hand also is with David.
Stop right there. Hold on. Wait a minute. We got to take a look at this.
Yep.
Did you hear what the king just said? Wait a minute. Did he just tell them to kill all the priests? Did y'all catch that?
Yeah.
Verse 14 said, Ahimelech answered the king and said, And who is so faithful among all thy servants is David, which is the king's son-in-law? This your son-in-law, you married to your daughter, dude. And goeth at thy bidding. You do remember he your servant, and is honorable in thine house. Then he says, Did I begin to inquire of Elohim for him? Be it far from me. No, I've been praying for him. Even as I pray for your whole household. This is what he's talking about. Why? Because he's the king. And this is the priest's job. The priest's job is to cover the people. So how much more so to cover the number one person, the king,
Right.
the head representative of Yah's people.
Yeah.
Amen?
Amen.
So you're going to start with him and his family first, which David was a part of.
Right.
So he says, Let not the king impute anything unto his servant, nor to all the house of my father, for thy servant knew nothing of this. I ain't know nothing of all this, less or more. But he told me, you gotta die. Not just you, but all thy father's house.
Right.
Yeah, that means, uncles, nephews, brothers, you know, sons. Yeah. And so he tell the footman, turn and slay the priest of Yahuwah. But I love this part. It says, but the servants of the king would not put forth their hand to fall upon the priest of Yahuwah. See, these were Israelites. They respected Yahuwah and they knew that Yahuwah was above the king. They knew that the priest was above the king because they were the representatives of Yahuwah. The king is the representative of the people. So who come first? Yah or the people? Amen. So the king seen that wasn't no Israelite gonna mess with the priest of Yahuwah. So he turned to Doeg. You know he wasn't an Israelite. Amen. He's an Edomite. He's of the flesh. You know. And he filled with fear. He gonna do whatever because you know his head may be on the chopping block if he don't. Says, turn down and fall. Verse 18. And the king said unto Doeg, turn down and fall upon the priest. Doeg the Edomite turned, and he fell upon the priest, and slew on that day 75 persons that did wear linen ephod. This man slew 85 people. All the priests. That's huge.
Yeah.
You know, now this is really important that we be able to see this. It says, in the Nob, in the city of the priest, smote he with the edge of the sword, both men and women and children and sucklings and oxen and behinds and sheep with the edge of the sword. Horrible. Horrible. You know, this is really important, though, you know, because this takes place, you know, when Doeg, when the fearful, and this is important because this speaks to us in our time. When the fearful, Doeg, the fearful, when the fearful, the Edomite, which speaks of the flesh. So when the fearful that are of the flesh, when they see the son of Jesse coming to Nob, when they see the sons of Elohim begin to become fruitful, when they see the sons of Elohim become fruitful, start bringing forth spiritual fruit, love, joy, peace, long suffering, meekness, etc. That's when Achimelech, the son of Achitub, you know, that's when all this jumps off. So that's a key statement right there, because he sees him coming to Jesse, the son of Jesse, coming to know. When you see the love, those that love Elohim, the sons of the great I am, becoming fruitful, coming to the point to where they're being fruitful, you know, to the king's brethren. And that's what Achimelech means. It means the brother of the king, and the son of Achitub, or the sons of the brothers, the good brothers, you know, or my brother is good. So we'll just say the good brothers, Achitub, the good brother, you know. So here it is, we see a spiritual picture of the sons of Elohim becoming fruitful, you know, and going to the brother of the king and the good brothers and inquiring of them for so that they can be inquired of, you know, by Yahuwah for themselves, and they're going to give them victuals, that is teachings and instructions, and they're going to give them the word of Elohim, you know, that was used to slay giants, you know. So you're going to be, you know, we're going to be equipped for war. Amen.
Amen.
You know, but it's going to come at a great price, because these priests, the priests that were in the priests that be fruitful, the king he's gonna be out to get them. Are y'all hearing?
Yes.
you know, he's gonna be out to get them. And so here it is. He's gonna have the fearful killing the fruitful.
Right.
He's gonna be having the fearful killing the fruitful priest. Everybody see that spiritual picture?
Yeah.
That's important because
Yeah.
we probably not too far from that,
Right.
you know. All right, so we're gonna go back to the physical aspect just for a second because this was actually the fulfillment of a prophecy. You know, and the prophecy is found in 1 Samuel 3:10-14. It says, and Yahuwah came and stood and called as at other times, Samuel, Samuel. Then Samuel answered, speak, for thy servant heareth. And Yahuwah said unto Samuel, behold, I will do a thing in Israel at which both the ears of everyone that heareth it shall tingle. And I trust me, when they heard about all the priests getting killed, their ears were tingling. It says, in that day I will perform against Eli all the things which I have spoken concerning his house. When I begin, I will also make an end. For I have told him that I will judge his house forever for the iniquity which he knoweth, because his sons made themselves vile, and he restrained them not. Therefore I have sworn unto the house of Eli that the iniquity of Eli's house shall not be purged with sacrifice or offering forever. Okay, and then also want to consider what he's talking about, the word, I will perform against Eli all the things which I have spoken concerning his house. They were spoken in chapter 2, verses 31-33. The prophet came to Eli and said, behold, the days come that I will cut off thine arm and the arm of thy father's house, that there should not be an old man in thine house. And thou shalt see an enemy in my habitation, and in all the wealth which Elohim shall give Israel, and there shall not be an old man in thine house forever. And the man of thine whom I shall cut off from mine altars shall be to consume thine eyes and to grieve thine heart, and all the increase of thine house shall die in the flower of their age. And here it is, we see them all dying in the flower of their age. You know, this was a fulfillment to that prophecy. You know, now the takeaway that I want you to take from this is that your Saul, that is the desires of your heart, causes Yah's covering to be removed. This is what we're being shown here, because when Saul destroys the priest of Nob, he's simultaneously destroying his own covering. Because these priests were the ones that was covering his sin. They were steady praying for him and keeping him covered.
Right.
And so he's actually shooting himself in his own foot. He's doing damage against his own household by destroying the household that covers him. So, you know, we have to be able to see this spiritual implication, because it's a very important one. Because your desires will work to destroy Yah's covering over your life. So it's important, you know, that you let David rule and reign. It's important that you put him on the throne as soon as possible. Because if Saul continues to reign, this is what's going to happen. And, you know, that covering is really important. That protection of Yah, that hedge of protection, you know, from the Most High is really important. You know, so, you know, this is where we're going to end. So I'm going to say that's all I have for you today. And we'll pick it up again next week. Amen. Hallelujah.